Remember 1971, the year when music took a turn that would shape generations to come? From the soulful melodies of the Temptations to the infectious beats of Three Dog Night, we're about to dive into 10 unforgettable hits that not only topped the charts, but also captured the spirit of an era. Ready to rediscover the soundtrack of a transformative year? Number 1. Knock 3 Times. As we tune our radio back to 1971, we're greeted by a familiar sound, but it's not coming from the speakers. What if I told you that the next song on our list was born from the rhythmic thumping of apartment walls? This catchy tune turned neighborly noise into a romantic gesture that swept the nation. Enter Knock 3 Times by Dawn, a song that climbed the charts faster than you could run up a flight of stairs. Released in November 1970, it became a smash hit in early '71. But here's the kicker. This chart topper wasn't inspired by a grand love story or a poetic muse. Nope, it was those noisy pipes in Tony Orlando's apartment building that got his creative juices flowing. Picture this. A shy guy, too nervous to knock on his neighbor's door, decides to communicate his interest through the ceiling. 1 knock for no, twice for maybe, 3 times means yes. It's like Morse code for the romantically challenged. This simple, relatable story struck a chord with listeners across America. Number 2. Just My Imagination. While Knock 3 Times captured everyday romance, our next song dives into the depths of love's imagination. What if you knew your greatest performance would be your last? For the Temptations, this bittersweet reality was about to unfold in a song that would leave an indelible mark on music history. In January 1971, the Temptations released Just My Imagination, Running Away With Me, a soulful ballad that would become their swan song. This wasn't just another hit, it was the final curtain call for Eddie Kendricks and Paul Williams, 2 founding members of the legendary group. Talk about going out with a bang! The song's lyrics paint a vivid picture of a man dreaming about the perfect romance, knowing full well it's all in his head. Sound familiar? We've all been there, imagining that perfect someone who's just out of reach. This universal theme struck a chord with listeners who found themselves humming along to their own what-ifs and maybes. Number 3. Take Me Home, Country Roads. As the Temptations were exploring new depths in soul, another artist was about to take us on an unexpected journey home. Ever wonder how a song about Maryland's winding roads became an anthem for West Virginia? The story behind Take Me Home, Country Roads might just surprise you. In April 1971, John Denver released a song that would become more than just a hit. It would become a cultural touchstone. Take Me Home, Country Roads struck a chord with listeners, tapping into a collective longing for home and simpler times. But here's the kicker. The song wasn't originally about West Virginia at all. Believe it or not, the winding roads that inspired songwriters Bill Danoff and Taffy Nivert were in Maryland. Yet, when John Denver first performed the song at the Cellar Door in Washington, D.C. on December 30, 1970, the audience's reaction was electric. The extended applause told Denver and his co-writers they had something special on their hands. Number 4. Go Away Little Girl. While Country Roads transported listeners to the mountains, another hit that summer was taking us somewhere entirely different. Picture this, a 13-year-old boy singing about resisting romantic temptation. Sounds a bit off, right? Yet somehow, it became one of 1971's biggest sensations. What made this unlikely combination strike such a chord with audiences? Enter Donny Osmond's Go Away Little Girl, released in July 1971. This wasn't just any teenage pop song, it was a cover of Steve Lawrence's 1962 hit, adding a layer of complexity to its mature themes. Imagine a young Donny, barely into his teens, pleading with a girl to leave before he falls in love with her. It's a unique perspective that caught listeners off guard and kept them coming back for more. The contrast between Osmond's youthful image and the song's adult themes resonated deeply with audiences. Here was a fresh-faced teenager grappling with emotions usually reserved for more experienced hearts. The lyrics reflected a sense of innocence and vulnerability that many found relatable, regardless of age. Donny's delivery conveyed a sense of urgency and sincerity that contributed to the song's emotional impact. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Number 5. Indian Reservation. From teen heartthrobs to social justice warriors, 1971's music scene was nothing if not diverse. Imagine a world where a rock band could top the charts while shining a spotlight on one of America's darkest chapters. What made this unlikely hit resonate so deeply with listeners? Enter Indian Reservation, the lament of the Cherokee Reservation Indian, by the Raiders, released in March 1971. This wasn't just another catchy tune. It was a powerful protest song that brought a serious issue to the forefront of popular culture. Written by John D. Loudermilk, the song aimed to shed light on the struggles faced by Native Americans, particularly their displacement and cultural loss. The Raiders' rendition of Indian Reservation struck a chord with listeners across the nation. Its poignant lyrics painted a vivid picture of the hardships endured by Native Americans, resonating with people from all walks of life. The song's success wasn't just measured in chart positions. It became a platform for discussion about Native American rights and issues. Number 6. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? From social commentary to matters of the heart, 1971's music scene covered it all. But could a deeply personal struggle become a universal anthem? The Bee Gees were about to answer that question with a song that would touch millions and change their trajectory forever. In May 1971, the Bee Gees released How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, a song that would become their first U.S. #1 hit. But the story behind this emotional ballad goes deeper than its chart success. Written by Barry and Robin Gibb during a period of reconciliation after a temporary breakup, the song emerged from a place of genuine vulnerability. The lyrics speak to the universal experience of heartbreak with lines that resonate with feelings of loss and longing. How can you mend a broken heart? How can you stop the rain from falling down? These words, sung with the Bee Gees' signature harmonies, struck a chord with listeners who had experienced their own heartaches. But it wasn't just the emotional depth that made this song special. The harmonies of the Bee Gees became a defining feature, showcasing their vocal blend in a way that enhanced the song's impact. This perfect marriage of heartfelt lyrics and stunning vocal performance laid the groundwork for the Bee Gees' future success. Number 7. One Bad Apple. Speaking of family acts, 1971 saw another group of brothers hit it big, but their chart-topping success came with a surprising twist. What happens when a song meant for one famous family ends up becoming another's claim to fame? That's exactly what happened with One Bad Apple by the Osmonds. Peaking in early 1971, One Bad Apple became the Osmonds' biggest hit. But here's the kicker. This catchy tune was originally intended for the Jackson 5. Talk about a musical game of hot potato. George Jackson penned the song, but it was the Osmonds who transformed it into a pop sensation that resonated with audiences across America. The Osmonds didn't just record the song, they made it their own. Their unique sound, blending elements of pop and rock, set them apart from their contemporaries. This distinctive style helped One Bad Apple become an anthem for young listeners, tackling themes of love and heartbreak that many could relate to. Number 8. It's Too Late. As family bands dominated the charts, a solo artist was quietly preparing to redefine the music landscape. How could a simple breakup song become an anthem for a generation? The answer lay in the hands of a piano-playing powerhouse who was about to change everything. Enter Carole King's It's Too Late, released in April 1971 as part of her groundbreaking album Tapestry. This wasn't just another love song. It was a frank, mature take on the end of a relationship. King's lyrics captured the complexities of love and heartbreak in a way that resonated with millions. What made It's Too Late so special? It wasn't just the catchy melody or King's soulful voice. The song's power lay in its honesty. Lines like, "It's too late, baby, now it's too late," reflected a sense of inevitability that many listeners found all too familiar. King wasn't sugarcoating anything, she was telling it like it is. But It's Too Late wasn't just a personal triumph for King, it was part of Tapestry, an album that set a new standard in the singer-songwriter genre. This collection of songs became the soundtrack for a generation, particularly for women finding their voice in the early 1970s. Number 9. Maggie May. While Carole King was empowering women through song, another artist was about to bare his soul in a way no one expected. What if your first real relationship became your biggest hit? For Rod Stewart, a chance encounter with an older woman would spark a musical revolution. In August 1971, Rod Stewart released Maggie May, a song that would become a defining hit of the rock era. Unlike many chart toppers, this tune was deeply personal, drawing from Stewart's own experience of his first romantic relationship with an older woman. The raw honesty in the lyrics struck a chord with listeners, making the song resonate on a whole new level. But it wasn't just the heartfelt storytelling that set Maggie May apart. The song featured a unique sound for a rock hit of the time, a mandolin. This unexpected instrument choice added a distinctive flavor to the track, helping it stand out in a sea of guitar-driven songs. Number 10. Joy to the World. Rod Stewart's personal story struck a chord, but what if the biggest hit of 1971 came from a completely unexpected place? Imagine a world where a bullfrog named Jeremiah topped the charts. Sounds bizarre, right? Well, that's exactly what happened, and the reason behind it might surprise you. In February 1971, Three Dog Night released Joy to the World, a song that would become the year's biggest hit. With its quirky opening line, "Jeremiah was a bullfrog," the song immediately caught listeners' attention. But it wasn't just the unusual lyrics that made this tune stand out. Written by Hoyt Axton, Joy to the World carried an upbeat message that resonated deeply during a time of social upheaval and change in America. The song's lively, sing-along quality made it an instant favorite, helping it secure the top spot on the charts and becoming one of Three Dog Night's biggest hits. Despite its whimsical lyrics about a bullfrog, the song captured a broader sense of joy and community. It reflected the cultural atmosphere of the early 70s, a time when people were looking for reasons to come together and celebrate. The success of Joy to the World proved that sometimes the most unexpected songs can capture the spirit of a moment. Wow, what a journey through 1971's musical landscape, from the neighborly romance of Knock 3 Times to the joyful celebration of Joy to the World. This year gave us an incredible range of songs that still resonate today. These tunes weren't just chart toppers, they were the soundtrack to a generation's hopes, dreams, and struggles. Think about it. How many times have you heard "Take Me Home, Country Roads" at a karaoke night or Maggie May on a classic rock station? These songs have stood the test of time, inspiring new artists and evoking powerful memories for those who lived through the era. They're more than just music. They're time capsules of an unforgettable year. Which of these songs brings back the strongest memories for you? Did any of them play at your school dance or first date? Share your stories in the comments.